Okay, so I watched this video here, which is a kind of tutorial on Avalonia. So what I am planning on doing is I kind of walked through it and copied just followed the walkthrough essentially. And so this is going to give me, if we just do .NET run, it's going to spin up and we'll see what the result is, right? Once we get this going, I will, it works now. So I have a menu and some GUI, and I'm able to actually interact with it. Okay, so like here, and if you see it, the selection works, right? Selection works, scroll works. I can delete this. I can come in here and add something else. I can do email address, whatever it is. I can add this, and then there it is, right? Okay. And the other thing that I can do is like search. So like alright, but this was essentially just copy and paste. So now, okay, great, I have something that does work. I want to now dig into the code and understand, okay, well, how is it actually working? So that's the next question, which we are going to be doing. Let me minimize this screen so that it's easier to see everything. Okay, so now I can get my Gemini over this way and then get this down here. Okay, so I know that this right here, this on property changed, on search text change, I know that this is responsible for that searching, that filtering that we saw. But I'm trying to understand, okay, filtered contacts, that's up here, and it's kind of a lambda function, okay? And we're doing like if the search text, which is a, now notice, it's not search text here, it is search text which is capital S, capital T, okay? So if this is white space or null, then we just show all of the contacts. We return all of the contacts, I should say. If not, if search text does have something in there, we do this filtering right here. We say, okay, great, there is something in there. It is, now what do we want to return when this is evoked? Well, we take each of the contacts, okay, contacts dot where, and then we filter. The name contains input or search text, okay, what did the user put in, and then just compare the two, okay? And I believe this is a function as well, right? So we're passing in a function as a parameter to this method, which will tell it to do the string compare. So now, the thing is search text, I was researching into it, and what goes on is, because of this observable property, I am, not me, but like the compiler, is generating some hidden code from me, and it is creating a property, it's creating another variable, which is a like object, right? And this object is titled with capital S and removes this underscore, okay? That's just by convention how it does it. And so that's this. And this new variable has some nice features such that you are able to notify and know when an event occurred, specifically which event that the variable changed, that there was some change to this variable, either something was put in or taken out. Okay, here we go, right? So now what I want to do is understand, okay, so how does this actually work and how does it hook up to my on-search text change? And notice that there's a partial right here, because again, yesterday I was doing a little bit of research while I was building this, right? And so I know that partial is something that's kind of important because that matches up to what the text generated is going to be. Okay, cool. So we have here, right? And I was talking about this, and what did I actually ask? How is on search text changed and on property changed works? So how are those two methods working, right? And what it says is this is the reactive part of your code. So reacting to changes. You have to look at the code you wrote versus the source generator. That's what's being generated, as it says there, in the background. Okay. The hidden setter logic. When you put observable property on search text, okay, just like we did, right? Up here. Observable property. The source generator creates a public property called search text behind the scenes that generates code. That generates code looks roughly like this. Okay. Or that generated code looks roughly like this. There we go. I did not sleep very well last night. Maybe 1 hour, maybe 2 hours. But I'm trying to hone in. Okay. Alright, so this is the generated. Speaking of that, let me take another. Maybe this. Yeah. Lock in. Come on, lock in. We got this. Nothing is going to stand in our way. Okay, so this new item here called search text, I am noticing this doesn't say partial. Hold up, why? How partial void? Okay. Oh, this on search text changed is partial? Okay. So anyways, we have a getter which just gives back search text, okay? But the setter is much more complex here. And so we say if search input text value equal to value, what is value? And then we return. If it's equal to value, but where is value? Okay. So, assuming it's not equal to value, whatever value is, then we're going to come down here. Search text is equal to value. Oh, okay. The previously set value. Okay. Run the before hook. Okay, on search text change. So now run the after hook. On search text change value. So this should match identical to, I can click there, to this. On search text changed. Okay, so yep, and then here's the value, which is text, okay? And now I'm not returning anything, right? It's a void. But I'm doing on property changed. Okay. Which is another. Okay. Oh, but there's on property changed here as well. Tell the UI that search text itself changed. Okay, let me. Okay, hold on. I can make this smaller. That's going to make things a lot easier on us. Ah, there we go. Look at that. That's so much easier. Okay. Anyways, so here I'm doing on property changed, but then I'm saying name of filtered contacts. Okay. This one is name of search text. Okay, so it seems like this parameter here that we pass in is telling the UI to be aware of some change which has occurred. Okay. But this one is a partial that I'm able to use from a back-end code to be able to be aware that that a change has occurred. So it's telling me, and then it's changing the UI. Okay, and then me from here, I'm also going to change the UI. But the things which we are operating on are different. This one is the filtered contacts. Okay, this one is the search text. All right. How partial void search text change works. In C#, a partial method is like an optional hook. Okay, and I also did kind of look at what partials are in C#, and from the video that I was watching, it was essentially saying that they're just a way to break up classes, and then at compile time they're put into the same one. The reason for them, what's so special about them, is essentially it allows code which is going to be very verbose. Like there's going to just be a ton of lines. You want it to be in the same class as another one that you're writing, but you don't actually want to see 10,000 lines of code. You want your core logic to be pretty small, whereas this one is going to be huge in its presentation. Okay, so a partial method is like an optional hook. The source generator calls this method every time the property changes. If you don't write the method, the compiler ignores it. If you do write it, as you did, your logic gets executed. Okay? Why did you do this? Because filtered contacts is a computed property. It has no setter of its own. The UI doesn't know it needs to rerun filtered contacts logic unless someone pokes at it. Okay. So this has no getter or setter, right? And so it doesn't know when to run. That's correct. You're saying every time a user types a character, oh, just lost internet, that's fine. Go poke the UI and tell it the filtered list is now different. Okay. What is on property changed? This is the notification system. Your view model base likely inherits from observable object. Okay, so that's a lot of words right there. Let's try to understand what's happening. Done. Yeah. My view model base likely inherits. Okay, so where is view model base? What is this? And then I see relay command. I don't know what that means either. So there's a lot of stuff going on. View model base. Okay, here. It inherits from this view model base. Can I go to definition? I'm doubting that this is going to work. Hey, it actually did. Okay. And it goes from observable object. Okay. Public abstract class. Okay. And where am I? View model base here, which is in view models. So views is going to be responsible for the actual presentation, right? View models is going to be how the data should change based off of the events. And then models Where's models? Here. Models is the actual data itself, like contact. And that's the only thing that we're manipulating is contacts. Okay. So this one is going to be how it changes, right? Main window, and I believe we don't even use this anymore. But this one also inherits from view model base. Wait, no, this is view model base. This inherits from view model base, which inherits from observable object. Now mine, this other one, is called contact manager view model, which comes from view model base. Okay. And I remember hooking this up with, I believe it was here. So I changed these two things, like contact manager window and contact manager view model. So here. This app, okay, public partial class app inherits from application, initialize, okay, on framework initialization complete. What do we do? If application lifetime is classic desktop style application desktop, okay, so if we're on a desktop, which we are, I'm guessing that this is in opposition to like mobile. So I think if I put it on my MacBook, even though it's a laptop, it would still present itself in this manner. Does it say? There's nothing like. Okay, so there's no functionality for like mobile. Okay. So disable Avalonia data annotation validation. Okay, that didn't seem like it matters too much. Desktop main window, okay, is equal to a new contact manager window. Okay. Are we saying it's this one? Or is this a class? Go to definition. Okay. This is within views. So yeah, we have this weird thing as well. Then this is another question that I'm going to have. We have this item, contact manager window, okay, .axaml, okay, which is like .html, essentially. But then we say .cs, and then we have this, which is somehow matched up with my HTML. I'm just going to call it HTML because it's so much easier to say. So, and I know that somewhere up here is that connection, right? Like data type VM, okay, I don't think it means virtual machine. Contact manager view model. Okay. Contact manager, no, not this one apparently. Contact manager view model, and this is where all of my functionality lives. Okay. I want this one. And now X class is going to be practice Avalonia dot views, which is where we are, dot contact manager window. Here. No, here, right? No, here, this one. Contact manager window, because it's the class within that folder location. Okay. So we have class and we have data type, and this seems to point to the data which we are going to be grabbing and the something which isn't very filled out here, but this seems to be connected there. So they're connected somehow up here, okay? And now when we're doing the HTML, again, I'm just going to say HTML because it rolls off the tongue a lot better than AXAML. Okay, so when we're doing the HTML, we'll see something called binding, okay? And binding operates on data. And that data is where'd it go? Come on. Is within our view models, and it is like this one. So here's like data. Here's data. Here's data, right? Here's data. All of these different things. This one. Okay, so let's look at a binding and see if we can wrap our heads around that a little bit. Okay, so button here. Okay, this is just a random button. What does it do though? Okay, so we have here binding, add contact command. Okay. So add contact command. Yeah, I didn't think that would work. Okay, because it's not like poppable, right? These things are poppable. This one is just a text. Okay, so I need to search for this, but I'm going to guess that it's within here. Add contact. Is that a one-for-one matching? Let me ask. Add, nope, add contact command. And this is add contact, okay. Here. Okay. So what I want to do is I want to come here and I'm going to... Oh, let's finish reading this and then we will come back. Okay, so if a user types the letter T into the search box, the UI detects the keystrokes, updates the search text property via binding, generated code. The set for search text runs. Your hook on search text changed is called. The poke on property changed. Name of filter contact is fired. Okay, the UI update. The list box sees the signal. It asks for the new value of filtered contacts. And then an automatic way to do it. Okay. So, actually, I just want to, I'm going to target this a little bit more. Oh, come on. Come on. Okay. Is my computer, well, we're still recording, so. It's not responding. Keep waiting, come on. You got it. I trust you. I trust you. Okay, maybe I don't. Maybe I shouldn't have trusted you. Let me pause this for a second and then try to get this up and running again. Okay, so we should be good now, hopefully. I'm going to come here and we can get this back up there. And now what I want to do is... bring you over a little bit like this. Okay. So now what I want to do is I want to look at this. I have two things that I want to do actually. Let's not be too distracted. Let's try to focus on one thing. So I'm going to say I am noticing that is called twice on different different objects once in the generated code to what was it here, to name of search text, and in mine to this name of filtered here. Okay. Why? Okay. What is the name of operator here? And how is this line working? Okay. Do I have internet? I think I have internet. Okay. So then the second question, once we get this a little bit looked into, the second thing that I want to do is understand how this on contact is actually connecting up with my front end, my HTML. Okay. Double notification. Okay, yeah. Here's the breakdown of the name of operator and the logic behind those two notifications. So what is the name of operator? In the old days of C# programmers had to pass strings to notify the UI. On property changed, and then you pass in a string. Okay. The problem, if you renamed your property to visible contacts but forgot to change the string, the code would still compile. Oh, okay, so it's forcing a compiler error because you no longer have that object. Okay, that actually makes a lot of sense. Okay, awesome. And then you get a compile time error. Great, awesome. Understood. Why the double notation? You notice two different properties being poked. This is because a dependency chain. So notification A. When the user types T, the generated code tells the UI the text box needs to show the letter T now. Oh, okay, I see. And this keeps the cursor and the text inside the search bar in sync with your C# variables. Yep. Even though the user didn't touch the list box, the list dependencies on what is in the search bar. Okay, yeah. So the chain of events. How the line works. The event system. On property changed method is triggers a very specific event called property changed. Okay. Imagine your main window is like a subscriber to a magazine. The UI is the subscriber. Okay. I'm watching search text and filtered contacts. Okay. The view model is the publisher. On property changed, name of runs. Okay. The view model sends a signal. Update for filtered contacts is available. Okay. The UI reaction. The UI receives the signal, immediately calls for the getter for filtered contacts, running your link queue .where code. Okay, so link queue, we've seen this before actually when we were dealing with entity framework with our Postgres database. Okay. And redraws the line on the screen. Okay. Okay, so if we change this, name of filter, if we comment this out, it won't change anything, which I believe because I've done that. So that's true. The data is actually filtered in the background. But because you're poking the UI, it doesn't know that it needs to change. Okay. So now what I want to do is have it walk me through this one. Okay. And we are looking for here, right? And I'm going to say like this. Now I am trying to understand the chain of events which are happening with binding of data and how functions are called based on that data, or okay. Alright, so to look at the circular flow of a MVVM application. When you click the Add Contact button, you trigger a chain reaction that travels through several layers of C# and HTML. Here is the step-by-step breakdown of that specific chain of events. Number 1. Before you even click the button, the bindings are already working. As the user types into the text box detects a keystroke because text is equal to binding new phone. Okay, where is this? Here. So for add contact form, okay, this is styling here. This is styling. Scroll viewer, okay. Let's I'm gonna do .NET Run, and so that way we can see this. Okay. So text box here. Okay. So is this a scroll one? This one is scroll, but this one is not scroll. It's probably because we just don't have enough data in there. But if we did have data, it would be scroll. Okay. By the way, I do want to mention that I like the layout. This is a very nice layout. I like it. I also like how they added the emojis. I like how you can click the emoji. I really like the way that the person did this. Like this person. Coding is amazing. Mr. Coding is amazing. Yeah. So good job to you on that one. Right. So let's look. Stack panel. So we're in the scroll viewer. Stack panel. Spacing. Text block. And then title, add new contact with stars. Here. Okay, so this is the title, right? And it's at the top. And then what I do is I have another text block. Okay. So there's text block and text box. Primary, modern input, and this text box has binding. Okay, so a text box you can input things in, right? Here. So we have this name, like this, full name. This is a text block. This is just saying display some text. Okay, a text box means have something where the user can put stuff in. And then that text should be binded to new name. Oh wait, hold on. New name, capital N, capital N. That is the generated code. That is not my that is not the one that I declared. This is the one which is generated after the observable property. Okay. So now how does it connect? Okay. So I think I'm understanding this right here. This text box binds to email, new email data, or like variable, new phone. Okay. So now this add contact, this should be grabbing all of those data, storing it here, updating the UI here. Okay. So let's see how this button, okay, so I have a button here. Selected, okay, that's also kind of cool. Selected contacts. Oh, it is scroll. Look at that. It is scroll. But anyways, so we have this add contact button. Awesome. So we put a button below, and we say the command for a button object is add contact command. So this gets triggered, but we don't know where that is. My suspicion is it has some connection to this. Okay. So, alright. Before you even click the button, the bindings are already working as the user types into the text box. The text box detects a keystroke. Do I need to do like updates on that as well? Because when I do this one, let me show you what I'm talking about. I do this, I type like Timothy, right? I didn't need to call an update for the text itself, but this one, it seemed like I did need to call an update for the text itself. I understand why we need to filter this one, or why we need to update this one. But this one, like, I didn't think that you needed to update that itself. Okay. It finds the property and calls its set method. The set method updates the private new phone field. Okay. The command trigger, the signal. The user clicks the button. Okay. The button looks at its command property, binding, add contact commands. Okay. It asks the view model, do you have a command called add contact command? Now we have this relay command attribute that I put. Why does that matter? Okay. The button executes the command which internally calls your private void add contact method. It runs, okay. So I get this one, right? Like we create a new contact, and then we do contacts.add, that new contact, and then we zero out our variables. So new name, new email, new phone, and these are the public facing ones, right? So the reason that we have the public facing ones is because we don't want to just go and change our variables directly, because what would happen is we would no longer update the, oh, so yes, we do need to update the UI as this UI here, because otherwise, if I did like add contact, right? If I did add contact, this goes away. But there has to be something in here that is on property changed. That when I type, that it updates and shows me here. Okay. Or when I click this add contact, I change it myself through the public facing one, not the private facing one. So like, for example, if I did this and I just said, same thing, right? Come in here like this, and underscore new name, underscore new email. Oh, and we need to disable our good friend Copilot. Let's snooze you. Okay, there we go. New phone. Okay, so now I'm is annotated and should not be directly referenced. That's correct. I'm doing something that I should not be doing, but on purpose. Okay, so now I am going to, I need to save that and .NET Run. And this should come up with and what I'm guessing is that when we add new contact, when we press the add new contact button, this is going to be ran. We're going to actually add this new contact, but when we set these new strings, it's going to not take away the text. So like my name, and as I type it does show up, so that's as expected. Another like that, whatever, I don't know, phone is going to be this one. Now let's press add contact, and I think that these are going to stay there. But we are going to get another one here, so we're going to get a my name there. Let's see. My name here, and this stays the same. Good, we got it. Okay, so let's get rid of this. Whoops. Okay, so that makes sense. Okay, so now I'm starting to see how the bindings work. The next question that let's okay, so let's come in here. I get this, okay, that kind of makes sense. Now I want to understand what these are going to be. Can you tell me what these are and how they offer functionality? So also notice how this right here is not the generated code which the compiler creates for the public facing items of like new name, but rather the one I created. You've touched on how the compiler and the IDE work together to make your life easier. Okay. X class, the physical link. X class, so practice Avalonia contact manager window. Okay. This one. This tells the Avalonia compiler this HTML is the visual half of the C# class named. Okay, so it's connecting the visual to a actual class. How it works: when you build a project, Avalonia takes your HTML and transpiles it into C# code. Okay. Because your C# class is marked as partial, the compiler merges your code and the HTML code into a single class. Okay. Functionality. This is why when you call initialize component, your C# constructor, initialize component, I believe it was this one? No. Initialize component. I know that I saw that. Oh, what's in here? I know that I saw initialize component somewhere. Here. Okay, so this is why when you call initialize component in your C# constructor, that method actually lives in the hidden half of the HTML, okay? Mental link. This is where your specific question comes in. You notice that you are pointing to your class, not the generated one. Here's the secret. In C#, a partial class is one single entity. Even though the code is spread across... Hold on. Did I define that entire thing as a... This one is a partial. Okay, fine. Did I define this one as partial? I guess I did. Look at that. Look at that. Okay. Even though the code is spread across two different files on your hard drive, the compiler sees them as the same thing. So by setting this here, you're giving HTML a map. Without it, binding new name, the editor has no idea what you're talking about. With it, okay, and they live in the same class. Okay, that makes sense now. Why it points to your class and not the generated one. The generated code you are thinking of, the one with the public new name, is actually part of your class. Yep, now things are clear to me. Okay. So, optionally, okay. You can usually find it in, I actually do want to see it, object debug.net generated. Okay, so obj debug .net, we're going to be looking for like .net 10. So we're in debug. I think actually we're .net 9. Oh, we're already in .net 9. Okay. Generated. G. Do we see a G? I'm seeing a whole bunch of like DLLs. I'm not necessarily seeing generated. Ref Avalonia, maybe. References. Okay. Not quite seeing it. Let's maybe if I expand this out. Assembly info. I mean, no, that's not going to be anything. Doesn't seem like it's anything either. Okay, that's fine. Let's just close this. There we go. Alright, so now we are getting a better understanding of how everything connects together. View model base here, observable object. Okay, so why do I need this observable object? Why do all of my classes in view model need this inherited? Okay. Okay, so to understand why observable object is the ancestor of every class in your view model, we have to look at how communication works in a GUI. A standard C# class properties are silent. If you change a value, no one knows. But for a GUI to work, the view model must be loud, okay? The power. The iNotify property changed. Okay, so I've seen this, but I think it was when I was just doing my research. I don't think it was when I was actually, I don't think I saw that anywhere in the actual code. So, the observable object is a helper class that implements an interface called iNotify property changed. Is a helper class that implements an interface. Okay, so here's the interface. Okay, and this is the implementation of the interface. Okay. The interface is a universal language that Avalonia and C# use to talk to each other. The UI says, I'm listening for any object that implements this. Okay, so the UI says. Okay. Which, okay, this implements this interface. Okay. I am an observable object, so I have the ability to shout when my data changes. Okay. You notice that your contact manager view model inherits from view model base. This creates a chain of inheritance. So observable object, gives us this thing, I think. Provides the voice, the on property change method. Okay. Your custom base, where you can put your logic that every screen your app needs, like a loading spinner, error message property. Okay. Your actual logic, because it inherits from the others, it gains the voice automatically. So the connection to observable property. This is the aha moment. The observable property attribute cannot work unless the class observable property, unless it knows how to shout. When the source generator creates the new name property, it writes the line inside the setter of this. This is the shouting one. If your class didn't inherit observable object, the compiler would throw an error saying, I don't know what on property changed is. You're inheriting. Okay. Okay, so I'm trying to figure out what are my other points that I'm very confused about. Just trying to kind of knock out and go through each of these things that I'm hesitant on. The other one that I mentioned was let's kind of clear this. Let's clear all these. Let's clear this one. So I have this. I think I was confused about this, and I think I was confused about this right here. Okay, so contact manager window. Where are we seeing this? Here. Okay. Here it's from window. Initialize component. So why do I need this? It's connecting my HTML to a C# class, okay? And now my C# class is being contact manager window is being here. So I'm creating a new, which calls a constructor, right? Here, and then I initialize component and return that back. So can you walk me through how this code is executed? First, I create a new contact manager. Which should call the constructor, but I am seeing that there are random curly brackets after that call. So I don't know what is happening or how slash what is being passed in and created. Okay. Alright, so shorthand features is called object initializer. Okay. The object initializer here, this is like creating a new, we're creating a new object here, but this should be the object, right? Normally, if you want to create a window and give it data, you would write var window is new contact, yes, okay, and then window dot data content, so we evoked the constructor here, then data context is new contact, yeah, that makes sense, and then desktop main window equals, yeah, this makes sense. That's the way I would have done it. We come in here and we look at, we create an object, okay, which calls this initialize component, and I'm guessing that that has a variable which is called data context, and so we're going to be setting it here. Okay, I think that's what's happening. Is a cleaner way to do all of that in one go. The execution order. The constructor runs first. So contact manager window is called. The computer jumps to your C# file and executes initialize component. The properties are set second, immediately after the constructor finished. but before the window is assigned to desktop. Okay. The computer sets the data context. Okay. Inside the constructor, the properties are set second. Immediately after the constructor finishes, but before the window is assigned. Where do we assign it? Okay. To desktop main window, the computer sets the data context property. Data context property. Oh, assigns it right there. Okay. 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 I see. I see. Inside the constructor, you notice that C# file is very empty. You might wonder if it's empty, how does it know about grid and button? I'm guessing that it inherits. Before I look at that, I'm guessing. So this app is inheriting from application, but this one is inheriting from window. So I think that this is Avalonia, wrote a whole bunch of code under the hood, and one of the methods is going to be initialize component, and that's going to give me the object that I'm looking for. Oh, and I also noticed that this is partial. Okay. Wait, no. That partial means to the generated. Never mind. That's different than this. This is the thing that we're looking at. Okay. The secret is that initialize component is the glue. When you build your project, Avalonia reads your HTML file and converts it into a giant hidden C# file. Okay. Okay. Initialize component tells the computer, go find that hidden file and start turning that HTML text into real buttons and pixels on the screen. Okay. The full execution walkthrough. Here's exactly what happens in the milliseconds after you hit .NET run. Well, for me, it's a little bit more than milliseconds. It's maybe about 30 seconds. Okay, but I like the optimism. It's nice. The computer sets aside a bucket in memory for new contact manager window. The blueprint, the HTML, the constructor calls initialize component. This parses the HTML and creates grid, list box, and text boxes, and applies all those glass morphism styles that you wrote. I wrote, yeah. The brain. View model. The code inside the curly brackets runs. So contact manager view model is created inside the constructor. Sample data runs, filling the observable collection with me and James Cap, etc. The handshake. The view model is assigned to the window data context. Okay. So this one is creating, that's this one, contact manager window, right? And we initialize it, and then we set contact manager view model, which is this one, which is all of our functionality, okay? And so we set that as the data context. Okay, that makes sense. Okay. And then we return that back to the thing to be displayed. Yeah. Okay. Okay. So that's how those are all connected. I'm starting to see it, and now I think the next step for me is to go in and take what I've learned here and now try to build my own, because all of this stuff is just like practice. I've been trying to just understand how C# does GUI development. So now I think the next step is, okay, let's try to build the application which we are thinking about, which is like the AWS wrapper. But all I want to do right now is just get the GUI working. So I'm thinking maybe we add a button, or like a thing that does a Lambda function and just plops it onto the screen or something like that, right? Okay. So we'll have to play around with it a little bit, but I think that I don't understand it completely, but I'm at like maybe 50%, 50-60%, I feel. So I think it is high enough to be able to at least work towards building what I'm trying to build, and then when I inevitably run into problems that I have no idea how to solve, okay, well then we'll have to deal with them as they come along. So I think that's going to be the next step is, okay, great, now let's actually go and let's write some GUI code to be able to build the application that we're looking for. So if that is interesting, subscribe, and I would love to have you along on this journey. And yeah, thank you for watching. My name is Timothy Lee Grant, and I'll see you guys in the next video.